Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that, well, cuts through the noise to get you the insights you really need. Today, we're tackling something huge, something that's changing everything from our phones to, medicine. Artificial intelligence. Now, AI has incredible potential, obviously, but it's definitely a double-edged sword. So our mission today, to really unpack the dangers, the risks of AI that maybe don't get talked about enough. We've got a stack of sources, IBM reports, academic studies, cybersecurity insights from places like Carnegie Mellon, analyses on democracy, a real mix.
That's right. And look, the benefits of AI are clear. We see them emerging, but getting the most out of it means we have to look at the potential downsides. These risks, they're complex. They touch on tech, ethics, society, everything, really. We'll be exploring that whole spectrum today, give you the context you need for what's coming.
Okay, so let's start somewhere maybe a bit unexpected. How AI might be, quietly picking up our own human flaws, our biases. What happens there?
Yeah, it's a fundamental issue. See, AI systems learn from data. That's their input. And if that data reflects existing human biases, which, let's face it, it often does, the AI doesn't just copy those biases, it can actually amplify them.
Amplify them. How so?
Well, think about hiring software. If past hiring data shows, say, a gender bias, the AI learns that pattern and might start filtering out perfectly qualified candidates just based on gender. Or healthcare AI being less accurate for certain groups because they were underrepresented in the training data. Predictive policing is another big one, potentially targeting marginalized communities unfairly based on biased historical crime data. It's bias in, bias out, but magnified.
Wow. So these aren't just like small technical errors. These are problems with really serious consequences for people's lives, their jobs, their health, how they're treated.
Exactly. Real world impact.
Which leads to another question. If AI is constantly learning from all this data, how much of our data is it actually collecting and what's it doing with it?
Privacy. Yeah, we're in an era of, frankly, unprecedented data collection. Take large language models, LLMs, the tech behind things like ChatGPT. They need absolutely massive amounts of data to train. A lot of that is just scraped from the internet, often without, clear consent. And that data can easily include personal stuff, PII, personally identifiable information.
Okay, so it scoops up everything. Then what?
Then the algorithms analyze it. They build these incredibly detailed profiles about you. Your interests, sure, but also political views, maybe even guessing at health risks. This gets used for super targeted advertising, of course, but also to shape the news and content you see online. And it's not just companies. Governments can use this for surveillance too, tracking consumer habits, political leanings. It's broad. And here's something that really stood out. A Code 42 report found 87% of companies are worried that their own employees might leak sensitive company data just by typing prompts into generative AI tools.
87%. That's huge. So it's not just personal privacy, it's a massive business risk too.
Exactly. It really highlights how intertwined this all is.
It does blur that line between public and private, doesn't it? It makes you wonder if you can ever really opt out. And all this, the constant connection, the data, the feeling that things are changing so fast, what's that doing to our mental health?
That's a growing concern. There's a term for it. Technostress. Basically, the stress that comes from using all this tech, including AI. And studies are showing it's not just an annoyance. The rapid push of AI can actually trigger or worsen things like anxiety and depression. For instance, there was a study looking at Romanian adults that found a clear link, a positive correlation between AI-related technostress and higher levels of anxiety and depression. It's measurable.
Really? What kind of things contribute to that stress?
Well, the study broke it down. There's techno overload, feeling like AI forces you to work faster, harder, always be on. Then techno-invasion, where AI blurs the lines between work and personal life. You feel like you can never switch off. Techno-complexity, that feeling you have to constantly learn new AI tools just to keep up. And maybe the biggest one, techno-insecurity. The fear, basically, that AI will take your job.
Right, the job anxiety.
Exactly. And the study found, interestingly, younger people felt more affected by the invasion and insecurity aspects. Women reported more fear around complexity and insecurity than men did. It taps into broader things we're seeing, like digital burnout, doom scrolling, the whole psychological weight of automation and constant change.
So it's this mix of uncertainty and needing to constantly adapt. It takes a real toll on our happiness, our mood, our mental state. These are the very personal costs. Okay, so we've talked about the personal side, but AI is also having these huge effects on society, on information itself. It feels like it's shaking things up fundamentally, including maybe democracy.
Oh, absolutely. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire of misinformation. AI has, supercharged the ability to create and spread fake news, false narratives at a scale we've just never seen before.
Well, things like deep fakes.
Deepfakes are a prime example. AI tools can now generate hyper-realistic photos, videos, even audio clips, making it look like someone said or did something they absolutely never did.
Yeah.
And they're getting incredibly hard to spot. We already saw that example of AI robocalls mimicking President Biden's voice to try and suppress votes. That's not theoretical. It happened.
Right.
And then there are what's called AI hallucinations. This is where the AI model just makes stuff up. But it presents it very confidently, sounding plausible, even if it's completely wrong. It can range from small errors to fabricating entire events.
How does it even create those deepfakes so convincingly?
It often uses a technology called generative adversarial networks, or GANs. Think of it like two AIs in competition. One AI, the generator, tries to create fake images or audio. The other AI, the discriminator, tries to tell if they're real or fake. They constantly challenge each other, getting better and better in the process. The generator gets better at fooling the discriminator, and the discriminator gets better at catching fakes. It's this continuous improvement cycle that makes them so powerful.
That's deeply concerning. If the line between real and fake just dissolves, how can anyone trust anything they see or hear?
That's the core danger, isn't it? And this erosion of trust has direct, serious implications for democracy. Experts point to threats against three key pillars.
Okay, what are they?
First, representation. AI can generate massive amounts of fake constituent feedback. Think millions of unique-sounding emails or comments supporting a certain policy, all generated by AI. It can totally skew a politician's perception of what the public actually thinks. There was even an experiment where lawmakers couldn't reliably tell the difference between AI-written emails and ones from real constituents. Remember that FCC incident in 2017 with millions of fake comments on net neutrality? AI makes that kind of astroturfing, faking grassroots support much easier and more sophisticated.
So it drowns out real voices.
Exactly. Second, accountability. AI-generated propaganda, which studies show can be just as persuasive as human-written stuff combined with micro-targeting specific voters, can warp people's views of elected officials' performance. It directly undermines election integrity. And third, public trust. Just the sheer volume of fake or misleading content erodes trust in everything media, government, institutions. It can lead to what some call political nihilism, where people just give up believing anything. And that, of course, fuels polarization.
So this isn't just some abstract political science debate. It hits your ability as a citizen to make informed choices. It potentially destabilizes the systems we depend on. And speaking of generated content, what about things like art, music, writing? Who owns AI creations?
That's another huge, tangled mess right now. Generative AI is getting really good at mimicking creative styles. It can produce images like a famous painter, write music in a specific genre, generate text that sounds like a particular author. But the big question is copyright. If an AI creates something entirely or even mostly on its own, who holds the rights? The user who prompted it, the company that built the AI. Is it even copyrightable at all? The laws are really struggling to catch up.
Yeah, I can see that. So if you create things or even just consume content online, you need to be aware these IP issues are unfolding right now. It's going to be important. Right, let's shift gears a bit. Let's look at the bigger systemic impacts of the economy and, surprisingly perhaps, the environment. The job market is obviously top of mind for many people.
It is, and for good reason. AI isn't just automating repetitive manual labor anymore. It's making inroads into complex knowledge-based jobs, white-collar work. We're talking about fields like legal analysis, financial advising, content creation, journalism, customer support, even some aspects of coding and data entry. These are areas once thought relatively safe from automation.
What are the projections looking like?
They vary, but some are pretty dramatic. You see figures suggesting nearly half of U.S. jobs could be at risk in the coming decades, or up to 800 million globally by 2030. Now, organizations like the World Economic Forum offer a slightly different perspective. They projected, I think back for 2025, maybe 85 million jobs lost to automation, but potentially 97 million new jobs created. The catch is, those new jobs will require very different skills. Think about it. An AI can analyze thousands of variables for a loan application in seconds. No human can match that speed for quantitative tasks.
That scale of change is hard to grasp. It really forces the question, what skills do humans have that AI can't easily replicate? What makes us irreplaceable?
That's the crucial question for the future of work. Looking at AI's current limitations, experts usually highlight three key areas. First, creativity. Real, out-of-the-box thinking, strategic planning, common sense reasoning. AI is great at optimizing within set parameters, but not true invention.
Okay, creativity. What else?
Second, empathy. Understanding and responding to human emotions, building rapport, showing compassion. AI can simulate empathy, maybe, but it doesn't feel it. That human connection is vital in many roles: caregiving, teaching, therapy, even management.
Right. Makes sense. And the third?
Agility. Complex physical tasks requiring dexterity, fine motor skills, adapting to unpredictable physical environments. Think surgeons, plumbers, electricians working in messy, real-world situations. Robots are getting better, but human physical adaptability is still way ahead.
So creativity, empathy, agility. For you listening, this really points towards needing to, well, maybe redefine your value beyond just traditional job functions. And definitely investing in learning, reskilling, staying adaptable. But this automation, some people paint a picture of a possible future era of affluence, right? Where AI does all the work.
Yes, there's that vision. An era where AI drives automated production, combined with potentially very cheap, renewable energy and materials. The idea is that basic necessities, food, water, housing, energy, could become super abundant and low cost, maybe even free. It's a compelling idea, especially when you contrast it with today. I saw a stat. In 2020, the U.S. threw away something like $218 billion worth of food. Eradicating world hunger might cost just $5 billion a year, and there are far more empty homes than homeless people. The potential for abundance seems there, theoretically.
But there's a flip side, isn't there?
There is. The huge risk is that instead of widespread affluence, automation just widens the gap. The benefits flow to those who own the AI and the automation, concentrating wealth and power even further into the hands of a few tech giants. It could easily worsen inequality, not solve it.
So it forces us to think about what work means, what has value in society, and maybe needing new economic models, ones focused on human needs, not just profit. Now, you mentioned energy earlier. Many people think of AI and tech as clean. Is that accurate? What's the environmental cost?
Yeah, that clean tech image is often quite misleading. AI has a significant environmental footprint that's often hidden. Training these massive AI models requires enormous amounts of electricity, usually housed in huge, energy-guzzling data centers. Running the AI day-to-day also consumes considerable power.
Can you give us a sense of scale?
Sure. One study estimated that training a single large language model could emit over 600,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. That's about 5 times the lifetime emissions of an average car, including its manufacturing. And it's not just energy. Water usage is another big factor. Training GPT-3 and Microsoft's U.S. data centers reportedly use around 1.4 million gallons, or 5.4 million liters, of water for cooling. Even just using AI, like making 10 to 50 queries, can consume about half a liter of water indirectly. Plus, the constant drive for faster, more powerful AI chips leads to a lot of electronic waste as hardware becomes obsolete quickly.
Wow. That's a real paradox then. A technology often pitched as a solution for efficiency and maybe even climate change is itself a major energy consumer and polluter.
Exactly. Unchained AI growth could actually make climate problems worse, not better. It's something we absolutely need to factor in.
Okay, let's get into some of the trickier, more technical aspects now. The things that make AI hard to truly grasp and, well, control. This idea of the black box. What is that?
It's a really fundamental challenge. Many sophisticated AI models, especially deep learning networks, operate in ways that are opaque. Even the researchers who design them don't always fully understand the exact internal logic or step-by-step process the AI uses to arrive at a decision or prediction. It's like looking at a box. You see the input go in, you see the output come out, but the process inside is murky, a black box.
And why is that a problem?
Well, several reasons. If you don't know why an AI made a certain decision, say denying a loan or flagging a medical image, how can you trust it? How can you debug it if it goes wrong? As Kush Varshney from IBM Research put it, without that trust, businesses can't really get the full benefit of AI. And it leads to huge questions about accountability. If a self-driving car crashes or facial recognition leads to a wrongful arrest, who's responsible? The programmer, the company, the AI itself. The black box makes assigning responsibility incredibly difficult.
Right. That lack of transparency really undermines trust, and it hides potential dangers, makes it hard to manage the risks before something bad happens. So what happens when AI just fails? Or does something totally unexpected?
AI failures can happen for lots of reasons. Bad or biased data, obviously. Algorithmic flaws. Maybe the input data it receives in the real world is different from its training data. Even cultural nuances can trip up AI judgment. And sometimes AI just does things it wasn't programmed for. An AI trained on chess might figure out how to play Go, for instance. That might seem okay, but imagine an AI in, say, national security or high-frequency trading starting to pursue unintended goals. The consequences could be catastrophic.
And are they vulnerable to attack?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
There's a whole field around adversarial attacks. This involves making tiny, almost invisible changes to input data specifically designed to trick the AI. For example, slightly altering sensor data fed to a fleet of autonomous trucks could potentially cause chaos. It highlights a certain fragility in systems that become heavily reliant on AI.
So this unpredictability, this vulnerability, it increases the risk of failures spreading through systems, especially critical ones, which kind of leads us into the really big, maybe even scary long-term questions. Existential risk, superintelligence.
Yeah, this is where the conversation gets more speculative, but it's being taken seriously by many top AI researchers and technologists. We need to distinguish between strong AI with human-like general intelligence and artificial superintelligence, or ASI hypothetical AI that vastly surpasses human intelligence in all aspects. While true ASI might be far off, or maybe never happen, the potential risks are considered profound. Remember that open letter in March 2023? Tech leaders calling for a pause on training AI more powerful than GPT-4, citing societal risks.
I do remember that. And didn't Geoffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI, express concerns?
He did. He and others warn that AI is evolving so rapidly it might actually surpass human intelligence sooner than we think. Some prominent scientists have even put the potential extinction risk from uncontrolled AI on par with risks like nuclear war or pandemics.
Wow. What's the core fear there? Losing control.
Essentially, yes. The concern is that as AI becomes more autonomous, learning, adapting, making decisions entirely on its own, we could reach a point where we simply can't control it anymore. Its goals might diverge from ours in unpredictable and dangerous ways. Stephen Hawking warned about this back in 2014. He suggested that fully developed AI could spell the end of the human race because humans, limited by slow biological evolution, just wouldn't be able to compete.
That's a chilling thought. Machines making life or death decisions without us. And that idea of an AI to human relationship becoming like God to mortal. Unsettling stuff. Okay, we've covered a lot of heavy ground. The risks are clearly significant and wide-ranging, but let's pivot now. It can't all be doom and gloom. What can we actually do about it? What are the strategies, the guardrails?
Absolutely. There are solutions being developed and paths forward. A huge piece of this is AI governance. We desperately need comprehensive strategies, clear rules, policies, ethical frameworks for how AI is developed and used responsibly. Companies like IBM are advising businesses to set up internal AI governance structures. On a larger scale, you have things like the European Commission's ethics guidelines for trustworthy AI. These state that AI systems need to be lawful, ethical, robust, unbiased, explainable, and accountable.
So setting the rules of the road, basically, making sure AI aligns with our values.
Exactly. These frameworks provide a roadmap, and beyond overarching governance, there are specific technical and human-centric approaches.
Like what? How do we tackle things like bias or the black box?
Okay, so for bias, it involves things like ensuring training data is diverse and representative. Building diverse development teams helps catch biases too, using specific metrics to measure fairness during development. And importantly, having human oversight, maybe through AI ethics review boards. To address the black box issue, there's a field called explainable AI, or XAI. Develops techniques, things with names like Lime or Deep Lift, that tried to peek inside the box and understand how an AI reached its decision. It's about increasing transparency.
Okay, so tech solutions for tech problems. What about security and privacy?
For cybersecurity, it means building security in from the start a secure by design approach. Doing thorough risk assessments, testing models for vulnerabilities using those adversarial attack methods we mentioned, and training people on cyber response. For data privacy, it's about transparency with users telling people what data you're collecting and why, giving them real opt-out choices. Some are even exploring using computer-generated synthetic data for training, which mimics real data patterns but doesn't contain actual personal information.
And the environmental impact.
There are steps there, too. Choosing data centers that run on renewable energy. Developing more energy-efficient AI models. Sometimes training models on less data, if possible. Simplifying the AI architecture. Every bit helps reduce that footprint.
What about the human element in all this? Keeping people involved.
Crucial. The concept of human in the loop is vital. This means designing systems where humans retain meaningful oversight and control, especially for critical decisions. Think of a physician in the loop for medical AI. The AI provides insights, but the doctor makes the final call. Researchers at places like Carnegie Mellon also emphasize designing AI systems as advisors, not just autonomous agents, and exploring hybrid AI, maybe combining the pattern recognition strengths of neural networks with a more logical, rule-based approach of symbolic AI. That might lead to systems that are inherently more trustworthy and verifiable.
So connecting this back to you, the listener, all these efforts are about making AI safer, making it more reliable, and keeping it aligned with what we actually want and need as humans.
And there's one more piece, maybe the most important for everyone listening. Digital literacy and continuous adaptation. We all need to get smarter about this stuff. That means educating ourselves and employees on how to spot misinformation and deepfakes. Learning to recognize the signs, like the sometimes formulaic writing style of AI text generators. It means fostering critical thinking, adopting a trust but verify approach to information we encounter online, really questioning the source and authenticity before we believe it or share it. And going back to that business risk, training employees on what data is safe or unsafe to put into generative AI tools is becoming essential to prevent accidental leaks.
Right. So our ability to learn, adapt, and think critically isn't just a good skill to have anymore. It's really a necessary defense mechanism in this age of AI. It's about staying informed and vigilant. #outro. Well, we've certainly covered a lot today, from, the subtle ways bias can creep into AI and the impact on their mental health, all the way to the huge societal shifts, misinformation, job market changes, and then digging into those deeper technical challenges, the black box problem, and even those, frankly, unsettling questions about AI autonomy and control.
It's clear that navigating this future isn't simple. It really demands a combination of approaches. We need strong governance, ethical rules. We need better, more transparent, more secure technology. We absolutely need to keep humans in control. And crucially, we need everyone to become more digitally literate, more aware.
Definitely. So as AI keeps learning, keeps evolving, it's going to keep raising these big questions about what it means to be human, what our role is in this potential new era of affluence we touched on. Let's leave you with this thought. Some experts predict AI will eventually strive to optimize human happiness. If that happens, how might your own definition of happiness change when a machine might understand your patterns, maybe even your desires, better than you understand them yourself? What happens when it starts suggesting how you should feel? Something to think about.